In the 1950s, psychologists ran a strange experiment. They placed volunteers in a room and gave them a difficult problem to solve. But the real experiment wasn't about intelligence. It was about discomfort. The moment people started feeling mentally stuck, something fascinating happened. Most participants gave up almost immediately. Some became irritated. Some distracted themselves. Some pretended the task was pointless. A few even blamed the experiment itself. But a small group did something different. They stayed with the discomfort, even when they felt confused, even when they looked foolish, even when their brain wanted to escape. Years later, researchers noticed something powerful about people like this. The ones who could tolerate mental discomfort slightly longer often became better thinkers, leaders, and decision-makers later in life. Not because they were born smarter, but because they didn't run away the moment thinking became painful. And honestly, you've probably felt this too. Maybe during an argument, someone challenges your opinion and suddenly your chest tightens a little. You stop listening. Your brain instantly starts preparing a defense before the other person even finishes speaking. Or maybe while scrolling online, you see an opinion you disagree with, and within seconds your thumb moves to scroll away. That reaction feels normal, but what if I told you that exact moment is where intelligence actually begins? Most people think intelligence is about having answers. It's not. Real intelligence is about surviving the feeling of not having them. See, your brain is designed for survival, not truth. Thousands of years ago, being rejected by your tribe could mean death, so your brain evolved to protect your ego almost like it protects your body. That's why being wrong feels strangely painful. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, but you don't need the scientific term to understand it. You've already felt it. That uncomfortable tension when a new idea doesn't match what you already believe. Most people treat that feeling like danger, so they escape. They distract themselves. They dismiss the idea. They call the other person stupid. Anything to feel safe again. But highly intelligent people tend to react differently. They stay with the discomfort a little longer, not because they enjoy feeling wrong, but because they understand something most people never realize. The brain grows through friction. Think about the gym. Muscles don't grow when the weight feels easy. Growth happens when resistance appears. Your mind works the same way. If you only consume ideas you already agree with, your brain never stretches. It simply repeats itself, and modern life makes this problem worse. Your phone studies your behavior constantly. The algorithm learns what makes you feel smart, safe, and emotionally validated. Then it feeds you more of it. Again, and again, and again. Slowly, you stop exploring reality. You begin living inside a mental echo chamber. That's why people today can consume endless information and still become less thoughtful over time. Because consuming information is not the same thing as thinking. Scrolling is not reflection, and confidence is not intelligence. In fact, truly intelligent people often seem slower in conversations, not because they're confused, but because they're careful. While everyone else rushes to protect their ego, they quietly consider the possibility that they themselves might be wrong. And that takes courage, because admitting you might be wrong feels like a small death to the ego. Most people spend their whole lives avoiding that feeling. You can even see it in normal conversations. Think about the last argument you had. Were you truly listening, or were you just waiting for your turn to speak? Most people don't listen to understand. They listen to defend. And the moment the brain enters defense mode, learning stops. That's the dangerous part. A person can read books for years, watch podcasts every day, collect endless information, and still never truly grow because their ego filters out anything uncomfortable. They mistake familiarity for understanding, but real understanding changes your behavior. Real understanding makes you more curious, not more arrogant, and the people who become exceptional thinkers usually share one hidden habit. They actively search for friction instead of comfort. Here's something strange about highly intelligent people. The smartest person in the room is often the one asking the most questions, not the one speaking the most. Because once someone genuinely values truth more than ego, curiosity becomes stronger than the need to appear right. Imagine two people hearing the same idea. The first person instantly says, "That's nonsense." The second person pauses and asks, "What if I'm missing something?" That tiny pause can completely change a person's life because the second person keeps learning while the first stays trapped inside old patterns. And this habit becomes incredibly powerful over time. Every generation fears new ideas at first. People once feared electricity, then television, then the internet. Now, artificial intelligence. The human brain naturally resists uncertainty, but the people who succeed in the future are usually the ones willing to sit with uncertainty long enough to understand it. That's why intelligence is often less about IQ and more about emotional tolerance. Can you tolerate the feeling of not knowing? Can you survive a few moments of uncertainty without instantly escaping into distraction or arrogance? Most people can't. That's why social media arguments go nowhere. Nobody is trying to discover truth anymore. Everyone is trying to protect identity. And once identity gets involved, logic quietly leaves the room. You can test this tonight. Think about one belief you feel emotionally attached to. Then ask yourself one uncomfortable question. What evidence would actually change my mind? Most people never ask themselves that because deep down, many people don't want truth. They want certainty, but certainty feels good because it stops thinking. And the moment someone becomes completely certain they are right about everything, growth ends. Curiosity disappears. Listening disappears. Humility disappears. Meanwhile, truly intelligent people keep adjusting their understanding of reality, not because they enjoy confusion, but because they understand something important. Being wrong is temporary. Refusing to learn can become permanent. And honestly, this changes more than intelligence. It changes relationships too. Imagine how different life would feel if people stopped trying to win every conversation. Instead of reacting emotionally, they'd become curious. Instead of attacking, they'd ask questions. That mindset creates calmer and wiser people, because emotional control and intelligence are deeply connected. If your emotions completely control your thinking, then other people can control your thinking too. That's why outrage spreads so easily online. Outrage disables reflection, and a reactive mind is easy to manipulate. But the moment you slow down, the moment you pause before reacting, the moment you become willing to examine uncomfortable ideas, you begin reclaiming control over your own mind. And that's rare today. Most people are constantly reacting. Very few people actually stop and think, really think. And maybe that's why true intelligence feels quiet. It doesn't desperately try to prove itself every second. It's calm enough to question itself. That's the paradox. The wisest people often feel less certain, not more. Because the deeper you understand reality, the more you realize how much you still don't know. So tonight, try something small. The next time an idea irritates you, don't immediately scroll away. Pause for 60 seconds. Ask yourself, what if there's something here I need to understand? Your ego will resist. Your brain will try to escape. That's normal. But if you can stay with that discomfort just a little longer than most people, you'll slowly begin to notice something changing inside you. You'll think more clearly, react less emotionally, become harder to manipulate. Not because you suddenly became a genius, but because you finally stopped running from the feeling of thinking.